Now we will talk about RNN or recurrent neural network. RNN or recurrent neural network is a type of artificial neural network that is best suited for recognizing patterns in sequence of data. RNN can be used in textual data, video data, speech, language, genomes, and time series of data. Whenever we see a association of data in a sequential format, recurrent neural network can be the best thing to help you out in in such situations. It can be used for classification algorithm, it can be used for clustering, and it can be used to predict data based on classification or clustering, usually in a time series context. Now, let us try to understand the architecture of RNN. Remember, RNN and LSTM and our derivatives, basically LSTM is derived from RNN and are used mainly for sequential processing of data. So here we have a sequential network where we can see multiple layer of networks, multiple neurons. Now these arrow basically means that long-term information has to be sequentially traveled through all cells before getting to the present processing cells. This means it can be easily corrupted by being multiplied many times by smaller numbers less than 0. This is because of vanishing gradient problem. So basically what is the problem over here? So we can see this recurrent neural network. So a recurrent neural network with value, suppose a is the value over there, xt is the input, and this ht is the output. But this output is divided into two parts. One is going to the next neuron, and another set of output which is going to the previous or the next layer which is going to come. So this is how it works. Basically, x0 is the time 0, x1 is the time 1, x2 is the time 2, or say it is row 1, row 2, row 3. Now, information in the row 0 is analyzed and processed, and it has divided in two parts. Like it gives output. First output goes as an output to the individual contributor for the output of that operation or for the data, and the same output is again traveled, or part of it is given to the next neuron as an input. So the next neuron next neuron is what? This is the neuron, or this is the same neuron in the next iteration of information, or basically in the next row. So the same neuron, when it is processing the next row of data or next time sequential data, it was considering the previous information, input of the previous information as well as the current information. This way it will be more robust, and it will be analyzing more of the more information. And that is why it will, whatever output it will generate, it is not just dependent on the current scenario but also on the previous scenario. That is why RNN is a data model, or is a model which can be used for sequential data. So the arrow basically means that long-term information has to sequentially travel through all the cells before getting to the present processing cell. So long-term information has to pass through a long effect. It has a long effect, like it is sequentially getting vanished. Okay, so the output of the first neuron, first row observation, it is not necessary that whatever is the output of this is going to be there in the xth phase. The output of this first layer gets vanished over the time, and it gets corrupt slowly, and the effect of the first output is getting minimized over the last output. And this is what is called vanishing gradient, where the output of the first basically gets corrupted by the output of the last. So there are different types of RNN. Here we can see one-to-one binary classification RNN, where will I pass or not such kind of information. We can use the simple RNN. Then we have many-to-one RNN, where it will take information from many data and it will give output as single data, like textual information. If you want to just summarize whether it is positive, negative, you can use many-to-one transformation. One-to-many transformation, where you have image with you and you want to just summarize what all information is there in that image, so you can use image transformation, or you can use image conversion. Then you have many-to-many machine learning translation, like for example you have a text written in a certain language, that is Spanish, and if you want to convert it to English, So Spanish will have multiple inputs, and the output that we are going to get is also multiple outputs. So these are certain types of RNN, like one to many to many to one, and many to many. So uh, this is all about RNN. RNN has a problem of vanishing gradient descent, and vanishing gradient is a phenomenon where the model actually forgets the information from the very past. It just remember what has happened in the recent scenarios. So this is what is the drawback of RNN. That's why it vanishes. The information gets vanished in the RNN.